So my friends, welcome to a new crypto update video. Bitcoin at 114,250 US dollars. Not much change since the weekend or since yesterday, since our stream. As I said, last week we saw a bigger sell-off. Starting Thursday, things really started dropping rapidly. Of course, this also has to do with the poor labor market data and possibly, yes, that an interest rate cut might be just around the corner. But the important thing is we've now reached my target zone down here, and we've also seen a nice reaction out of it, you could say, at this point. And since then, we've been moving slightly upward again. What my current targets are, how we can continue to position ourselves here, what things look like for the altcoins, and of course for the traditional markets as well. That's what we'll be looking at, as always, in this video. But before we get started, feel free to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and of course, feel free to join the free Telegram talk and signal group. If you're interested in updates, news, and signals, feel free to join. You'll find the free link for that below in the video description. And if you're still looking for an exchange where you can trade everything we discuss here, feel free to sign up with my partner exchange, BingX. At the moment, there's a cool deposit event where you can get up to 10% cash back in total, either as bonus trades or even as credit. So just sign up using the link below in the video description. By doing so, you support me and the channel. All right. So Bitcoin at 114,200 US dollars. There wasn't a negative start going into Monday, so no repeat of what happened almost exactly a year ago to the day where after the interest rate decision from the Bank of Japan and last year's poor numbers, things dropped significantly further on Monday. We've held up very, very well, even if we take a look at the whole thing on the daily time frame. In the meantime, and for that we need to quickly switch charts, let's look at the Binance chart and also check out the Traders Reality indicator here. We've filled the vector candle to, I believe, 75%. That's a very, very good sign. We've seen a textbook retest here of this high and of this high at this blue vector candle. So at the moment, we can assume that things aren't looking too bad, especially considering the daily close yesterday. At least it closed above the previous day's candle. That's a good sign that we might continue to see a reversal here. But as you can see, for me, the next few days are crucial to see how high we can still go. That's why I've already marked the VIP level here from our top to our low. For me, the crucial area right now is between 117,500 and up to 119,800 US dollars. Why exactly this area? On the one hand, of course, it's the 0.5 Fibonacci retracement level plus the golden pocket, and secondly, of course, the heat map. And that's what we're going to briefly talk about now. You might remember we talked about this just last week. This area, 113,000 to 114,000 US dollars. We have, of course, completely worked through it to the downside here. That's why the red box was down here, also because of the vector candles. Now, the largest accumulation of liquidity is up here in this area between 119,000 and 120,000 US dollars, which aligns very well with our golden pocket up here. And if we take another look at this on the smaller time frames, we can also see all the wicks up here. So the liquidity lies above that. So if we behave normally now, it's quite possible that Bitcoin will move upwards here over the next few days and grab this liquidity. Apparently there are, I believe, 5.6 billion in short liquidations up here, all the way up to 125,000 US dollars. Let's see if it actually gets that far, or if we just form a lower high here and then, in the end, start heading downwards. Or if we definitely break through this area up here with a daily candle, then I'm bullish, and then we could move up here again in the range of, well, 125 to 130,000 US dollars. But that remains to be seen, or rather, it will be decided up here at this point, where I'll ultimately consider whether to enter a short position. That's it for Bitcoin for now. Let's take a quick look at the funding rates. They actually don't look too bad either. So as you can see here, as long as there's a lot of green here, aside from KuCoin, that's very, very good. In some cases, there's even negative funding. That means there are significantly more shorts in the market right now, which is very good for pushing the price up again. Let's move on to the altcoins. What's been happening with Ethereum? With Ethereum, I really have to say, at least from my perspective, unfortunately, it didn't quite reach my price target. You might remember that I kept saying I wanted to see the 0.382 Fibonacci retracement level at around 3,250. As you can see, this price level was missed by only 3.2%. Unfortunately, really unfortunately, it annoys me at this point that we didn't get in there. But, well, it happens, or sometimes it just happens that we don't hit these levels exactly, or maybe it still will. That doesn't mean we've already found the bottom. That's why I haven't locked in a long position here yet, you could say at this point. The daily close yesterday was a bit underwhelming at this point. Sure, it was bigger than the red candle, which is a positive sign, but I would have liked to at least close above this wick. And as you can see for yourselves right now, we're having a bit of trouble here, even when we look at the whole thing on the 4-hour time frame. There, it looks a bit better. At least the last 4-hour candle closed above it. If this one also holds, my target here would definitely be the area between 3,700 and about 3,800 US dollars. Why this price level? Just for the sake of completeness, let's draw the VIP level here as well. Alright, like this. Now, let's draw the VIP level from our top to our low. Right here is exactly the golden pocket, or the 0.786 Fibonacci retracement level, plus inefficiency, plus vector candle. So that's my rough target for the next few days, what should be reached. And then we'll just have to see how the reaction is up there. Either negatively, in which case it would definitely be worth considering a short position again, meaning we would go down here into the area of 3,250, or we break through, and then my target would be roughly up here at this box around 4,100 US dollars. So overall, everything is still fundamentally bullish, nothing negative yet. Let's see how this week goes. Especially in terms of news, it's very, very quiet this week, I have to say. Unless Trump comes out with some nonsense again. Yeah, let's move on to, oh wait, Solana. Almost forgot before I move on. Solana, actually perfect as well. Our order was hit down here, so our box, the 0.5 Fibonacci retracement level, even down into the golden pocket. Very, very well hit. A textbook correction, I have to say at this point. After we crawled the top up here really well, we now had the correction to the downside. Still, I would have liked Solana to go a bit higher, but well, you can't have everything. Still, a correction now. The next target now is the 0.5 Fibonacci retracement level at around 181 up to about the golden pocket at 189 US dollars. Here as well, same game. If we get rejected up here, it's bearish and we'll probably go lower. But if we don't get rejected up here, just face a slight rejection and then gain momentum upwards, then the next target is definitely the larger golden pocket at 220 to 227 US dollars. But now, let's move on to the traditional markets. What's gold doing? Gold keeps pumping. As I already mentioned yesterday in the live stream, for me, entry points are down here around 3,320 US dollars down to 3,308. Gold has surged due to the news that interest rates might be cut in September. Just briefly here, the CME group shows that 80% expect rates to be lowered in September. So that's a clear shift after the poor labor market data, which has really pumped gold. Gold is just waiting for the Fed pivot. Unlike the other markets, I'm a bit more skeptical there. But for gold, it's definitely a positive sign. Still, I'm waiting to enter here because we still have a nice vector here. That means specifically, I want to go long in roughly this particular price range, and then subsequently I will probably open a swing trading position that we will hold for a considerable while. So that's definitely a reminder for you. 3,320 vector in and then let it run upwards. And finally, our breakout from this range, which really, well, we could actually extend it a bit further here. That's been going on since May 20th. So a nice accumulation phase. And if we go back down here again, that would be a clear long signal for me. Then euro against the US dollar, still, yes, at target zone level. Here as well, of course, the interest rate cut has made itself felt, in my opinion. Extreme pump at first, but we also talked about it. This here is our target zone for a possible short, and it was reached for now. The 1.16 euro against the US dollar landed perfectly in the red zone. Here too, the short scenario would still apply. Of course, the zone is a bit larger. It had roughly a range of about 1.36%. That's roughly the short area. But for now, I'll stick with the fact that we've gotten our short entry here again, and now the euro will likely go significantly lower. Let's move on to the traditional markets. What did the DAX do? The DAX has also clearly weakened. So unlike the euro, where we saw this PAP and gold, the traditional markets have weakened significantly and lost support. Here too, we now have a gap to the upside, which I would very much like to see filled before possibly continuing to sell off further. We'll see how the week develops, whether things get a bit more dramatic, or if this was just a minor shakeout. In any case, the support is still holding, which we've already tested several times here. Let's see how things ultimately play out. And just for the sake of completeness here as well, you can see for yourselves the gap is exactly within the golden pocket. Same story with the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq lost 4%, but even here, if we draw the line accurately at the closes, we're still following the trend. That means everything is still fine with the Nasdaq as well. We've also formed a small gap here now. It will be interesting to see whether we might end up filling that gap everywhere. The Dow Jones has also held its lows. We haven't seen a new all-time high yet. It's going to be, I would say, a very exciting week when it comes to the crypto and stock markets. Either the gaps will now be filled, possibly even for Bitcoin into the golden pocket, and then we'll see a turnaround just like in the traditional markets where we fill the gaps everywhere to then, I would say, get this turnaround and then experience an absolute market crash. Which I still don't quite expect because you know my assumption a bit. I believe all of that will only happen with the Fed pivot, that the markets will pump significantly until then, and only then will we see this bigger crash. But well, we'll see how it all plays out. Let's see what happens in the next few days, and otherwise I'd say that's it from my side for now. we'll definitely catch up again tomorrow. We'll catch up again tomorrow with an update video. Feel free to share your opinion in the comments below about what you think of all this. Are you bullish or bearish? Otherwise, I'd say that's it from me. Leave a like, subscribe, join the Telegram group, and we'll talk again tomorrow. Until then, bye-bye, and as always, stay crypto.